heart. He don't love you, and he never will, like I love you. Ooh, no, 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 no. He don't love you like I do. No, he don't. He don't love you like I do. No, he don't. Whoa! No, no, no. He don't love you like I do. He don't love you. No, he don't. He don't love you like I love you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Duncan Showroom and the Eugene Smith and Billy Show, episode number 80. That's a nice round number.
Number 80.
I like that.
Wow.
How did we do it?
One day at a time.
They've
One
skipped
show at a
ahead of you.
time.
June, what's your date, June? June, your birthday is, wait, don't tell me. May 30th.
Yes.
Right, okay. Planning a big party?
No.
Oh, no, you're going to just keep it low key?
Low key.
Okay.
Well, maybe I'll have a huge bash of about 200 people.
Well, either or. It's either going to be low key or big time.
You only turn 80 once.
That's right. Yeah, it's an exciting time. And look at you. You're youthful as ever.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well. No, I'm serious. You got the Methuselah gene. Don't forget that. How you been keeping?
Pretty good. I just got over the flu there. I had it for about 3 or 4 days, and just when you think it's gone away, it comes back. Yeah,
Like bad relatives. They
yeah,
keep returning.
Yeah,
That's
like
right,
bad
yeah.
relatives.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good now. Like I'm not going to sing today, but
Right.
well, I mean maybe at the end of the show, but
Maybe for the good
Yeah.
night, everybody, you could whoop
Yeah.
something up with our guest.
yeah.
Huh. Well, that's good. You had another plan, I heard.
Well, I thought I would, seeing how it's still Black History Month, I thought I would tell a story about myself.
That's a good. Oh, you're black now.
No, I'm not black.
No,
As you
no.
can see, I'll put my hand here. This is black, and I am brown.
You are brown. Thank you. Yes, but
Yeah.
you are considerably.
Well, I
part
don't
of the-
I don't consider myself black.
No.
I just consider myself of the Negroid persuasion.
That's what I've always heard. That's right.
I figured if Negro was good enough for Martin Luther King, it's good enough for me.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
And
You're in good company.
And I grew up in Toronto, and I was never. If you called me black, that was a fighting word.
Oh, was it? Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was fighting words.
Huh.
So I've always considered myself of the Negroid persuasion, and
Nice.
but I won't keep saying that in my story. I will say
No,
black, just
okay.
I don't want to confuse everybody. And
That's right. Well, how about it? I think that's neat. This is back to our origins. Tales and Tunage, wasn't it, Tim?
yeah,
Eugene
when
and Billy, Tales and Tunage.
when we first,
Road stories it started with, right?
yeah, when we first started, yes.
Yeah, there were some good ones.
Then I
Margaret
ran out of
Trudeau.
stories.
Well, I think we could have squeezed you a little harder, but it was nice to bring in the music and a wonderful evolution to bring in the guests, too.
Yeah, well, I figured the guests, they have their stories, so
Yeah, it worked out good.
and it can't be all me.
Oh, look,
me.
there he is now.
It can't be
Oh, sorry.
me.
Right, that's true. Aye. Well, you're a humble fella. Well, okay, that's going a bit far. But, hey. You're not a bad fella to hang out with, I'll tell you that. Okay, well, we're just going to give you the stage. You going to tell the story with those glasses on? How can you relate to the people?
What people?
He hates it when I bug him about what people. We have an audience. Yay!
Oh, we have an audience.
Yay.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you do what you want, sir. You're fine.
Well, so I figured I would try and just relate a story to me that happened when I was first getting inducted into the racial platform, and I was born in Toronto in 1944. So how old did I be when I was in grade 3? I guess 8 years old.
About 8.
8 years old. So this was I don't know. I grew up in an area in Toronto where our family was the only black family in the area, and I went to public school and high school, and I was the only black kid in the school. And so in grade 3 was my first introduction into segregation, racism, because we lived in a place where it was like row houses, and there were Italians, there were family, a French family, our family, there was the British family, the Greeks, so and we all, Germans, we all, there were problems, but we all got along. And those are the days when people didn't lock their doors either, you know. I mean, if we went away for the weekend, we would lock our doors, you know, but other than that. But so in public school, in 2nd Street Public School in New Toronto, where I grew up, in grade 3, the teacher, her name was Mrs. Rose. And Mrs. Rose, yeah. She was no Rose, I'll tell you. But anyways, she, every once in a while, they would talk about Africa.
Right.
And whenever they talked about Africa, the kids would all turn around and look at me.
What the heck?
And I'm going, what are you looking at me for? I don't know anything about Africa.
As if you just got off the boat.
I know. I'm 7th generation Canadian.
Yeah.
What do I know about Africa? You know,
Right.
and I'm only in grade 3. So. But they would always, whenever they talked about Africa, they would always look at me as though I had the answers, you know. And so then one day, she was talking about Africa, and she said to me, she said, Eugene, would you like to stand up and tell the class why you don't have to wash as often as we do because your skin is darker and you can't see the dirt on your skin?
Oh, my God. Mrs. Rose. She's burning in hell right now. Don't worry.
And this was in grade 3, right?
Isn't
And
that I wasn't thinking those thoughts or anything like that. I was just going. And so I stood up and I said to her, I said, no, I said, I have to wash. You can see the dirt on my skin like you can on yours. And I have to wash just like everybody else. Well, because I spoke up, she took my desk and moved it out into the hallway away from the rest of the kids. Right. Oh, my God.
So I had to sit in the hallway until lunchtime, and then I went home and told my mother. Well, my mother grabbed a hold of me. She almost pulled my arm out of my socket. And she took me over to the school and back to the school, and she was I was sitting in the outer office while she was in the inner office with the principal, Mr. Smith, I didn't like him either, but my mother was in there with the teacher and the principal, and I could hear my mother giving them hell, you know, like she was. And next thing you know, my desk was moved back into the classroom, and from then on, she never talked about Africa.
Right. She dropped that learning tablet.
She never talked about Africa.
Yeah.
But that was my first introduction to any kind of racial or bigotry in Canada, like, you know, and being a 7th generation. Well, when I say Negroid persuasion, on my father's side, my father was Negro, and my great grandmother, she was Cherokee.
Wow.
And my grandfather was Negro. That's on my father's side, and on my mother's side, my grandmother was Negro and my grandfather was German.
What an exotic mix, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's. But I think I never looked at people in colors or whatever. I just looked at people as being people, and face value. That's how I grew up, you know, and that's why it's so ridiculous today. It's worse today. To me, it's worse today than when I was growing up. At least there was some kind of feeling where the people they got along, you know, everybody got, but people aren't getting along like they used to. In those respects. I mean, we try to change history. How can you change history? Like they're taking a street in Toronto, Dundas, and they're going to rename it. Maybe they already have. I'm not sure.
Have they?
Have they renamed it? I'm not sure. Well, you can't. How do you learn? Like, you know, back then the guy Dundas. I mean, that
what
was
did he
back
do wrong?
then. That was back then. Like, or try to change Tom Sawyer. You know, try to change those books. You know, like they want to do that. You know, the only one that should change is Buffy St. Marie.
Oh, you're picking on Buffy now. Well, poor old Buffy. She just took on a character. Had a very successful career.
I just thought I'd throw
stealing
that
culture. You just threw that in there, didn't you?
So that was one of my stories back then at the age of 8 years old. And as I got older, you know, I was called names. I had to fight my way through gangs at.
Sorry. Where did you notice that start? In high school more?
Well, when I started getting into high school. Yeah. And if I wanted to, like, I grew up in an all-white society. Let's face it, you know, in New Toronto. I mean, my dad used to say to me, "Well, when you get older, try and marry your own kind." And I'd say, "Well, where are they?
Where are they?"
The only ones I knew were my cousins. You know? You know, but if I wanted to date a girl back as a teenager, I'd have to meet her on the street corner.
Right.
And because I wasn't allowed to go and call for them, knock on the door, and meet her parents or whatever. And so I would meet them on the corner or whatever. If that happened, and it just it was an interesting time. But I was never bitter about it. I never became bitter because of it. I just thought these people were very They weren't stupid, but they were just not learned people, like, to me. They didn't. They didn't know what they were talking about. I mean, how can you dislike me if you don't even know me? Like that. So I used to think that, you know, and so if they didn't want to get to know me, I went, okay, fine, and I'd go on my merry way. There's lots of people in the world, you know.
So you had a good nature about it.
You know. So, and I used to know how to make fun for myself and everything else without other people involved. And then when I joined Ronnie and went down south, that was an experience, going down south, driving the Rolls Royce.
Right.
And wearing the chauffeur's cap.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, and getting up on stage as a chauffeur in the band because I wasn't allowed to be in the band.
That's so bizarre, eh?
Yeah. And
Southern culture.
There's the one story, we were playing we were down in Little Rock for 6 weeks. I was 21 years old at the time, I believe, 22. And we were playing down in different places, a radius of 60 miles from Little Rock, so our home base was there, and we'd finish a gig and then drive back to Little Rock. And so anyways, we were playing in a theater called in El Dorado, Arkansas. And I had never been in a soft seat theater before. It was my first time. And they had four bands, a guest speaker, and then Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks.
Wow.
And so we went backstage, took our stuff backstage and all that. And the guest speaker, they announced him. I didn't hear his name or anything, but I was back in the dressing room with the band and Ronnie and so I decided I wanted to see what this theater looked like. So I went back and I opened up the curtain a little bit, and I'm looking around, and I could see a sea of white faces all looking at the guest speaker and paying attention to what he's saying. And I'm not paying attention to what he's saying. I'm just looking, you know. And then I could see him, and so then I zeroed in on what he was talking about. He was saying, and he was going, and ladies and gentlemen, he says, we got to get rid of the niggers and we got to get rid of the Jews. He said, I want you to join the KKK today.
Wow.
And I'm with the curtain like this, you know, and I go running back to the dressing room, and I'm going, Ronnie. I said, that guy out there, that guest speaker, I said, you know who he is? And he said, no, son, who is he? I said, he's a member of the Ku Klux Klan, and he's recruiting people out there. And I said, I am not going out there.
Yeah.
And now the band is all upset, you know, they're nervous. And Ronnie said to me, he says, son, don't worry, everything will be all right. I said, yeah. I said, you're white, you're from Arkansas, you're white. And he said, you can say that, but I'm not, you know. And he said, don't worry, son, don't worry. So anyways, the guest speaker's done, and the curtain's down, and we go out, all the equipment's set up. And I'm at one end of the stage, and Ronnie's at the other. And as the curtain's rising up, there's a fellow on the other side, and he's announcing Ronnie, right? Mm-hmm. And Ronnie turns around, he says to me, son. And I look over, he says, you do the first song, do Georgia on My Mind. I said, Ronnie, this is your show. You do the first song. And the curtain's going up more and more and more, and I go, so finally we had to stop talking, and so then the band starts up the song, and and here's yours truly, because I was just a singer then. Oh. I was frozen.
Right. Yeah.
I was totally frozen.
Right. Oh.
And I could see everybody.
Yeah.
I could hear a pin drop. I could hear one of the guys in the band breathing behind me. I was like, and I was frozen, and I couldn't sing. I was frozen. Yeah. Wow. And the drummer went like that.
Yeah.
On the snare drum, and he brought me back to reality.
Right.
And they played the intro, and I sang the song, and when I finished, I got a standing ovation.
Ah, nice.
So it had a happy ending.
Good. Fuck you, KKK. Did you hear that, Leanie? He used to sing Georgia on My Mind.
Yes, I used to sing Georgia on My Mind.
We keep bothering Eugene. When are you going to sing that song again?
So I should tell one more story of the one that people seem to like the most.
All right, then.
About, we had days off when we were in Little Rock. So we had maybe 2 or 3 days off, and the band could do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
So one day we had a day off, and Ronnie wanted to take the band to this restaurant because somebody was playing there, Jerry Lee Lewis, and who he was friends with, and so we go into the club, this place, and the doorman sees me, and he says to Ronnie, he says, oh, I'm sorry, sir, but we don't allow no niggers in here. And Ronnie says, don't let him hear you say that. He's a Canadian Eskimo. And the guy goes, oh, come on in. He's all right. So I got into this place as a Canadian Eskimo.
Don't let him hear you say that.
And all these white people are all looking at me, and he's going, he's a Canadian Eskimo.
You do have the coloring of an Eskimo. That's
but I
true.
didn't have dreadlocks then. I just had short
just
black
short
hair. Yeah,
That's
curly
funny.
hair. Yeah.
That was quick thinking.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's a Canadian Eskimo.
Oh man.
So I
What
got
a
in.
world.
But it's been a trip. I just wish people would. There's an example of a teacher in Toronto. Maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe a little longer. He was when they were starting all this Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, you know. And so he was a teacher in a high school, and for Halloween, he dressed up like Mr. T.
Oh, right.
At this high school.
I heard about that.
And he won first prize.
Yeah.
So the next year, he was transferred to another school, and he dressed up as Mr. T again, and he got a whole lot of flack.
Right.
And a year later, just a year, he got a whole lot of flack, and they had to transfer him to another school.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. So that's how ridiculous it gets. Now, I noticed in the stores they've taken Aunt Jemima out of the stores.
Oh,
and
I
Uncle
know.
Ben's converted rice, and they've taken the pictures off
Changed the pictures,
of Aunt Jemima. Now, when I was growing up in Toronto as a kid, I remember when things changed in the States with the blacks there, and they took Little Black Sambo out of the library.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they also took Amos and Andy off television back then. Because Amos and Andy was one of the first black sitcoms on TV.
Right, right.
So that's when I was a kid. And Little Black Sambo was not even an American black. He was East Indian.
Oh, was he? Huh.
Well,
right.
I mean, where do you get a tiger going around a tree turning into butter? Like, there are no tigers in the United States.
Not
and
that
all you had to
many
do was look
in
at
the
it, the
circus.
pictures of his shoes, like his footwear.
Right, yes. East Indian.
He wasn't even an American black. He was, but because it was called Little Black Sambo, they took it out of the libraries.
Yeah. Oh,
So I think it gets a little ridiculous after a while.
politically correctness.
Yeah,
It's gotten a little bit out of hand.
But even in the States, they even the blacks, like comedians, using the word nigger. Like there's that Eddie Murphy. He uses that one thing. What's it called? Raw or something, where he's dressed in a red leather outfit, and he uses that word all the time.
Yeah.
Now, somebody who decided that he was not going to say the word nigger in his show anymore was Richard Pryor.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, he stopped using that word in his show.
I like the way Denzel Washington says it. It's like a term of affection.
It's what?
It's like a term of affection. He can turn it around. It's just like, my brother. It sounds like that.
Yeah. Well, I did notice when I was down south in the 60s that the people there, especially the whites, because they would say things like that, but it was just part of their normal conversation. Like, it wasn't they were directing it at me or anything. They would just talk that way.
Yeah. Which is maybe problematic.
And it was normal.
You don't evolve, yeah.
Yeah, that would be problematic.
And your children and your grandchildren, yeah.
Yeah, so they just talk that way,
Yeah.
So anyways, so that's it for me and the...
Well, thank you for sharing that. That was very good. And inspired perhaps by the work of our dear friend Diana Braithwaite.
Oh, yes, for sure.
And your trip up to the university. I can't say that word.
Yeah.
3 syllables. And when it's all of February, isn't it?
Yeah, it ends this month.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on being colored. And your fine history, sir.
Thank you. You're
7
welcome.
generations, eh? That's good.
7 generations.
You're a Canadian entertainer.
I am, eh?
Tim thinks you're a treasure. I don't know. I know you a little better, but
A treasure.
Canadian treasure.
Oh, I almost became a buried treasure.
Did you just about through the COVID?
With my heart attack.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You almost went down, but you're strong and healthy now.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Well, let's get to our guest because it infused some music. This is a local luminary whom we've had on before.
Mm-hmm.
Once, maybe twice. A local treasure. A blues, slack key artist, many genres this gentleman enjoys playing. Come on up, Don Wilke. Welcome to the show. Woohoo!
Hello.
We've known Don for many years. We're not sure how many, lose count.
Nice story.
Oh, thank you.
That was a good story, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way he morphed them together. That was quite well done. Did you practice that?
Practice it.
Yeah.
I lived it.
You lived it. I don't need to practice.
I don't need to practice.
I lived it. Don, how are you?
Good.
Good.
For an old fella.
Well, hey,
Not as old as Eugene, though.
No, you're not up to.
But I was going to say, when we grew up, Eugene, in our era, you're a little bit older than me, but not much. Our people were, like peace and love. That was our generation's
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
right? We were striving for that. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And things have gone a little bit too far. Maybe I agree 100%.
Yeah.
But at least we were striving for that. And don't forget, our parents' generation was the Second World War.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
The depression
Experienced
into the
that.
war. Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you heard stories from your grandparents of this, in the Second World War.
Well, I had uncles that were in camps.
There you go.
Prison camps.
And folks today have no idea
Yeah.
but of course, when we were young, of course, we turned on the TV and saw the Vietnam War, could see it on the TV, but now the kids can turn on and see the wars happening
Any war.
in Israel and in Ukraine right now.
All at the same
today.
time.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's getting bad, as you said earlier. But we're here to make music and
Let's play some music and lift our spirits. What have you been working on lately?
well, I got this tuning, G minor tuning I've been
G
playing.
minor. So it's an open tuning, but it's G minor.
Down in old Joe's barroom on the corner by the square. Drinks was served as usual. The usual crowd was there. To my left stood Big Joe McKinley. His eyes were bloodshot red. Stood right beside me, boys. These are the words he said. I'm going down to St. James Infirmary. I got to see my baby there. I laid out on a piece of marble, so white, so cold, so fair. Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she might be. She might set the whole wide world over, but never find a man sweet like me. When I die, won't you bury me in my great big white tall Texan hat? Put a $20 gold piece on my watch chain, so everyone knows I died standing pat. I want 6 crap shooters for pallbearers, and 6 pretty girls to sing me a song. Put a jet band on my hoist to play some hot tunes when we go along. I'll have another shot of booze. I'm down, alright, level to the ground. I got the St. James Infirmary blues. Well, it was down in old Joe's barroom on the corner by the square. St. James Infirmary Blues.
Yeah. Who wrote that one, Don? I should know the answer to that.
I don't know, but I know it by Cab Calloway.
Yeah. A little older than that. Nice tune. Huh. Well, let me just check in on the internet before we carry on with our discussion here, because I forgot to do that. I apologize. Oh, this is not a touch screen. What the hell? What's going on? Sorry, Don. I gotta go up. Wait, I've been learning. Leanie Beanie, hello, loves. John O'Flynn, shout out to you guys. Thanks for being here this evening and sharing your life histories. Eugene, appreciate the sharing. Much appreciated. Leanie says, wow, Eugene, you said you never. Thank you for sharing that one. Something you never did, apparently. Leanie Beanie. Oh, Georgia. Right, yeah. Georgia. Love you. Canadian treasures abound. All right, thank you. Don, you said you're planning, well, I think, make the plan, because you would like to play festivals, and you're perfect material. You got a wealth of material under your belt.
Yeah, I just was saying I want to stop playing bars.
Stop playing the bars, that's right.
Lugging around amps and speakers and stuff, and just play festivals.
Nice.
Hire me.
Hello. I'm ready. And fully retired, which is good, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Have guitar, will travel.
Good. Yeah, there's nothing better. And you said not so much flying, though. Gene's not a big flyer either. You don't like getting into the airplanes.
No, I'm a train guy.
Train guy, yeah.
That's the way to go.
Have you ever considered that one, the crossing Canada by rail and playing in one direction?
I haven't, but I have crossed Canada 3 times on the train.
Yeah.
So I know it's a lot of fun.
Well,
I didn't play. I did play on it, of course, but I didn't get paid on it.
No,
I just played, and
they didn't give you a room.
No, they gave me drinks.
Well, that's
just as good.
Yeah.
Well, they stopped that. They did stop that program when COVID came along.
Oh, they did, damn.
And they haven't started it back up.
They haven't? Oh, no.
No, because that's how Diana and Chris travel back and forth playing on the train for their fare.
I hear the BC Ferries used to have.
They did have music?
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And is it true that there's beer on some of the ferries? That's so weird. Really? On all the crossings to Vancouver?
Yeah, Rodrigo used to play on the ferries.
On the beach?
Back.
I've never experienced it in my 40 years out here.
I never did experience it, but
in the old times.
I don't think they hired people to do it. I think they allowed people to do it.
Oh.
Tips, like for busking.
No, I think they hired people.
Yeah, Rodrigo.
There was one summer they were hiring people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Give
Rodrigo
it a whirl.
got paid for it. Yeah.
But my friend Jonas in a band called Headwater, they just used to do walk-ons one side over and then coming back, and they got permission to do it, and they made $80,000 one year doing
What?
that, just in their spare time, taking walk-ons both ways and busking, and people just threw money at it.
$80,000 busking. I guess it's you got a bit of a captive audience. Like the market, is quite big at Swanson. Certain areas where there's kind of things happening for people who are waiting.
When we were young, busking was. I started busking.
Did you? Yeah.
And I don't want to mention any names, but friends that I have that started busking that are still busking did quite well.
Really?
To say the least, from busking, and are retired happily.
Really?
And in the luxury life, like you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But
What sort of big city busking?
Victoria.
Victoria. Wow. I guess that's a pretty good. That's a rich economy down there.
In
Lots
the
of
summertime,
tourists.
And when I started busking, we busked all year round.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
And in the winter that was really cold, but in the summer we made our cash. Right?
Yeah. You sort of cement your spot by being regular.
Yes and no. It's the same as anywhere. You got to be the first one there.
Yeah.
And it's ethics too. The busking ethics. An hour and a half at one spot and then move along.
Yeah. So, do you have another song for us?
Sure, if you'd like. I got something.
We would. Thank you.
Let me.
Another tune.
now, please don't talk about me when I'm gone. Though our friendship ceases from now on. If you can't say nothing nice, best not to speak, that's my advice. You go your way and I go mine, best we do. Here's a kiss, I hope that this brings lots of good luck to you. Best not to say if I carry on. So just don't talk about me when I'm gone. Go mine, best we do. Here's a kiss, I hope that this brings lots of luck to you. Well now, ain't nobody business if I carry on. So just don't talk about me when I'm gone.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Is that one of yours?
No.
Oh, great tune.
That's
though.
another old.
Well
old
done.
one.
Well done. Well, we certainly wish you the best in the coming year, and real treat to have you back
Well,
again,
thanks
Don.
for having me back.
And you know, may all your dreams come true. As I say, it's never too late in the music business.
There you go.
Got to get out and kick the can. Gene, are you going to lead us? And we got to see what's it in. He always says it's in C.
C, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Is that C? No.
Are you C? Your dreadlocks have grown. Your tune has changed. That's what it is.
I'm a little bit out of that, right? You just lead off.
Well, good night, everybody. Hope you enjoy the show. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you enjoy the show. We'll come back in 2 weeks and we'll play you some more. Come on, Billy.
I said good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Oh, yeah.
I said good night, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this show. It was sure a treat to have Don along. We're gonna play you some more. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, come on back in 2 weeks and we'll play you some more. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. I'm Bill Ep.80. That's Eugene Smith. Thanks to Don Wilke and Longevity John and Dr. Ted Cadillac and our guests in the showroom. Yay, thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks with Beverly.
No.
It's
Jan Sterling.
Jan Sterling. Sorry. Beverly is busy taking care of her mom.
That's right.
Right. Jan Sterling, who we've had before. Wonderful guest. Good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, Don.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Whew. Well done, sir. Well done.
Why wait any longer for the one that you love when he's standing all right next to you? Why wait any longer for the world to begin? You can have your cake and eat it too. Why wait any longer for the one that you love when he's standing right next to you? Stay, lady, stay. Stay with your man a while. Lay across my big breast bed. Lay, lady, lay across my big breast. Oh, I say, bed.